Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos, and I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and breakup coach. You can change the language of this podcast in the YouTube video settings. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing when your ex is silent, you need Stoicism. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing when your ex is silent, you need Stoicism. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, the hardest part is the silence. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 points to consider about why you need to practice Stoicism when your ex is silent. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is the way we judge silence. Now let me know in the comments if you know what it means to be stoic. Let me know in the comments and let's see what the community thinks. When our ex is silent, our mind goes into overdrive. Is this somehow good? Or more likely, this must be really, really bad. But the truth is that the silence that your ex gives you is actually neutral. It's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad, it's neutral. And the reason for this is because we don't know exactly what is going off in their life. We can try and create reasoning in our mind, but ultimately we are filling in the blanks. The silence they give us mean that we have to create a story in our mind, and our mind very rarely works for us in this regard. It sadly often works against us. Our mind, our brain, isn't often our best friend during this time. It fills in the blanks with things which really don't help us. And therefore we have to remind ourselves during this time that your ex-dumper's silence is neutral because we don't know what's going on. Now, yes, of course, we know they ended the relationship. We know they decided to try walking down a different path. But does this mean they are happy? Does this mean that their decision has actually given them that happiness that they seeked? Does this mean that they're not thinking about us? Does this mean that they're not on the verge and the edge of reaching out? We don't know what position they are in. And therefore, let's not try and invent reasoning in our mind. The more we invent, the more we will eventually suffer. Because ultimately, anything that we think of is a creation. It's not the reality. It doesn't matter how we try and paint this picture, it is still fiction. Now maybe we can try and use evidence. At the time of a breakup, your ex-dumper was not likely to have been very happy. So maybe we're thinking, well, this silence is because they don't like us. Okay, maybe a few days, weeks post-breakup, we could come to the conclusion, which is possibly more likely than not, that they are not happy with the relationship. Of course, that is why they ended it. That is why they are now on their own journey. But once those weeks tick into months, and sadly, dumpies, that is likely to be the case. You're not likely to get your ex back in days or weeks. It is much more likely to be months if you achieve your goal. But once they get to that point, this is a whole new chapter. This is a period of time that none of us could predict what your ex-dumper is thinking. We don't know for certain. We don't know the experiences they have had post-breakup. And the truth is, they're probably going to be a lot less exciting than you are feeling fearful about. But at the end of the day, nobody knows for certain. And that is the point. Yes, they've gone silent because they don't want to be in a relationship with you at that time. But there could come a point of where they want to reconnect. And I've spoke to dumpers over many years, and what they have told me in general is that if and when they do reach out to you, it's not a sudden thought. If they reach out to you on a particular day, they have probably been considering reaching out to you for months. It's a slow and steady process most of the time. So all of those months that your ex was silent could actually have been moments they were thinking of you, starting to miss you, starting to desire you, and eventually reaching out to you. But you would never have known that. You would have been living your life probably worrying that they don't care and that they don't think of you, whereas they was actually developing feelings. It was actually more positive. Now, I'm not trying to give you false hope, because sadly, there is no 100% guaranteed way to get an ex back. We can't guarantee this will happen, but it is often the case. Hence why point number 1, the way we judge silence is often wrong. It is not definitely good, but it's also certainly not definitely bad. We have to consider this as neutral. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please give this video a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is control the controllables. Now, a key Stoic teaching is to only focus on what we can control. Now, this might sound somewhat obvious, but it's a lot harder to practice than it might be to say. Yes, of course, we can only control the controllables, but now try and put that into your own life and you will see how challenging it can actually be. So just maintaining that thought is going to help you. Remind yourself, we can only control the controllables. We can't force our ex to reach out to us. We can't force our ex to like us in a romantic way. We can't do these things. These things need to come from them. Now, even if there was somehow a way to make them reach out to you, to make them quote unquote like you, if you are making someone do this, if you are persuading them, it's not truthful. It's not genuine. They don't really like you. They don't really want to reach out to you unless it comes from them. So once you remind yourself of this reasoning, you will understand that it is a bad use of your time to focus on those elements. Now, can you do things to increase the chance of your ex reaching out to you and your ex falling in love with you once more? Yes, you can, but this isn't some mythical way where you are forcing their hand. No, what you are actually doing is becoming a more attractive person, and they are then coming to the conclusion that they miss you. They are coming to the conclusion that they want to reach out to you. So it is different, and it is a subtle difference, and it is an important difference. Yes, you can influence your ex's behavior, but you're not doing it in a way where you're making them do something they don't want to. What you are doing instead is becoming so attractive, whether this is mentally, physically, spiritually, however you might judge it, you are becoming that person. So your ex-dumper desires you. It's coming from them. So the hints, tips and advice are actually to improve yourself, to become more attractive to your ex and other people. Other people who see you, hear about you, read about you, whatever it might be, they will also start to feel more attracted. So yes, you can influence your ex, but it's not about forcing them. It's not about persuading them. It's not about saying, hey, we were really good together, we should get back together. No, you can't be doing that. So once we understand those elements, we will recognize we can only control the controllables, and that is focusing on our own life. Now, the first step of this is acceptance. That is again another key Stoic teaching. Practicing acceptance. Understanding that the relationship has ended. Understanding that right now you don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend. Right now you are focusing on you and your path forward, and you will move forward in a way where you will become the best version of yourself. not just for your ex. In fact, your ex shouldn't even be the main aim or goal or target on this. It should be you growing as a person, becoming a version 2.0 of yourself, making sure you are a better person today than you were yesterday, and a better person tomorrow than you are currently today. That is how you should be living your life. Because if you don't focus your life in that way, then you are never going to find yourself. If you don't know who you are, how can you expect anybody, including your ex, to actually want to be with you? So controlling the controllables, practicing acceptance, understanding that your ex-dumper can't be forced or persuaded to be with you. It must come from them. That is a key Stoic teaching that we need to understand and we need to put into practice. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. This is the best and diamond level of support that I can provide. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is silence is golden. Now type me in the comments an idea you might have about how you could use this time apart from your ex. Let me know in the comments and we will see what the community thinks about what you could be doing during this time. Because what I would say is that silence is golden. Silence is a gift. Now, I appreciate it doesn't feel like it right now. You would do anything to be with your ex-dumper at this moment. I'm sure that is what you would want, and you would do anything to try and be with your ex rather than have this gaping gap of silence between you. You don't want that, but let's control the controllables, as we spoke about in point number 2, and remember and see silence as a gift, silence as being golden. Now, the silence that your ex gives you is a gift because you can self-reflect. Now, as we was speaking about in point number 2, practicing acceptance, getting to the stage where we can understand where we are right now and where we want to be, this is where we get that opportunity to become that version 2.0 of ourselves, to grow, to improve, but also to understand exactly who we are as a person and what we look for in a partner. And this is why silence is golden. Because it's not just about focusing on you in a growth sense when we consider maybe health and fitness, when we consider skill set, education, knowledge, work, creativity, all of those good things you should be focusing on, improving and doing, yes. But now let's also consider the key traits that you look for in a partner. What are the deal breakers when you consider a partner that you don't want to have when you are with someone? You need to look at in depth in your mind what it is that you actually want and create what I call an avatar of a partner, an avatar of your girlfriend or boyfriend to be. Now, this might be your ex. You might get your ex back, and that is absolutely great if that is what you want and that is what happens. But your ex might not fit into this bracket. And this is where the silence they are giving you actually allows you to check and consider, is my ex actually what I really want? Because although you desire them right now, remind yourself once more that you are feeling this way mainly because you have been dumped. Yes, of course, you miss them from the relationship, but the fact they have dumped you, the fact they rejected you, that means you want them even more. There is nothing more attractive than rejection. So you feel this towards them, but does this actually mean they are right for you? Write it down, read it to yourself, really have a good think. What are the traits you look for in a partner? What are the deal breakers? What won't work for you? What didn't work for you in the relationship? Yes, you were dumped, but often the line between dumper and dumpee is very fine. Maybe you could have been the dumper in an alternative reality. Maybe that is a path which could have been taken, but you didn't, and then sadly you were dumped, and now you crave your ex. This is where things could have gone in a different direction, but the cards fell the way that they did. Sadly, you are the dumpee, and now you need to self-reflect, grow, become a better version of yourself for you, and anybody who gets to know you can feel that attraction towards you now building. Your ex the dumper, if and when they reach out to you again, due to the silence actually working against them, they create the silence, and yet the silence itself could be something which intrigues them eventually to you. And if and when they do reach out, they get to see the improvements you've made. Now that's wonderful. You can attract them back, but at that stage you might decide, I don't want you anymore. Because the traits that you've decided you seek, the deal breakers that you definitely don't want in a partner, maybe you recognize your ex-dumper isn't actually for you. And that is why silence is golden. It gives you a chance to look at this in depth. And that is why you must remember that silence is a gift.